Hello my friends, today it's like the mix. Ukrainian news, Iranian news, American news and some of the Russian news. Yeah, because everything is complicated but at the same time interconnected. As for example, we have this article, the Pentagon is considering the redirection of military aid originally intended for Ukraine to the Middle East. This potential shift shows the escalating war in Iran, which rapidly depletes critical American munition stockpiles. And indeed, there were lots of the Patriot missiles used for the last few days by Middle Eastern countries to protect themselves against Shahed drones and ballistic missiles. But what do they mean here about redirection? Because there is no direct military support from the United States of Ukrainian army. Unfortunately, what is out there is a Pearl program, where Europeans, with 10% extra margin, purchase weapons for Ukraine. Also, PAC-3 missiles to protect Ukrainian infrastructure, first of all, against ballistic missiles. And Russia intensified strikes on Ukraine. For the last couple of days, Russia launched 1,000 Shahed drones. Only drones, 1,000 to Ukraine. Just imagine this crazy number. And imagine if Iran would launch that number of the drones towards its neighbors. So do they want to use European money to finance the production for their own Patriot missiles or missiles needed to protect their American bases in the Middle East? Well, it's quite logical since they have now the war, but again, those are European money which are being invested into the production, all of the logistics and actual units which are being produced and delivered to Ukraine. Well, I need to dig into details, but it seems like European money could be used for United States military, not to protect Europe, because Ukraine is the shield of Europe. And that is why our European partners are interested in supporting Ukrainian military. United States, well, Donald Trump says he has a very big, beautiful ocean, but somehow America is at war with Iran and Russia helps Iran. It seems like ocean doesn't help to avoid the losses in American army. There already several of the losses and there will be many more because the concerning information is coming about a final decision of the Donald Trump's administration and Donald Trump himself to start the landing operation in Iran. So what we have here, the Ocean Defender writes in reference to the Times of Israel, United States President Trump appears to be leaning towards ordering a major ground operation against Iran involving the seizure of Iran's Harg Island in the northern Persian Gulf, with Washington convinced Tehran will buckle under such military pressure. An official from one of the countries mediating between the United States and Iran tells the Times of Israel. So this is the leaked information published by Israeli media. But New York Times, they wrote in their article that Donald Trump has already made the decision to start the ground military operation against Iran and it might start pretty much soon. Yesterday there were also leaks to the press from 3 of the unknown senators of Republican Party, by the way. They uncovered the intention of the White House to start the ground campaign. Limited one, yes, of course. My friends, just a short break reminder for you. Right now, please don't forget to press like to this video. Yeah, just right now, thumb up. Plus, if you haven't been subscribed to the channel, subscribe. It is for free and we are on a road to reach 1 million subscribers. Hope it will happen kind of soon. Maybe even this year, we'll see. Also, if you have an opportunity, you may support my job on Patreon with the link below or join membership by pressing button join. Obviously, if you can. Thank you guys so much for your support. Let's continue with the video. And the latest just 15 minutes ago from the same Ocean Defender, the Pentagon is developing military options for a knockout blow in the ongoing war against Iran, including potential ground and bombing operations, with options on the table including the seizure of the ships near the Strait of Hormuz or full-scale invasion of Harg Island, Iran's main oil export hub, as well as other islands in the Persian Gulf. Multiple officials and sources familiar tell Axios Barak Ravid report about it. And yeah, this is Barak Ravid. Pentagon prepares for a massive final blow of Iran war. Interesting, because Axios and Barak Ravid allegedly are associated with Vitkov, so maybe they have this first-hand information about what is happening. A final blow job. Yeah, they think that they will be successful. They could be, initially, at the stage of the intervention. But to keep the forces on the island for a long time, guys, it's just a nightmare. First of all, because of the poor logistics. Those are freaking islands. It is difficult to deliver something there, especially with this long shoulder. Also, United States issued warning for UAE. They warned local citizens to stay sheltered in case of the Iranian attacks, plus the separate warning for tourists to leave UAE. At least this information is coming from OSINT. Rubio's statement about Ukraine. He continues Trump's tradition to speak very close to the loud airplanes with auxiliary power unit in operation, but nevertheless I hope you can hear him.
The States is constantly being asked to help in a war, and we have more than any other country in the world, on a war that's happening in another continent, in Ukraine. But when the U.S. had a need, he didn't get positive responses. So right now he's just making the observation that, I think there was a couple of the leaders in Europe who said that this was not Europe's war. Well, Ukraine is not America's war, and yet we've contributed more to that fight than any other country in the world. So it'll be something to examine. The president will have to take into account down the road.
So they again accuse Ukraine and Europeans for not helping in the war, which is not the defense of the United States. Iran did not attack a NATO country. Yeah, you may say it was the threat, it was a terrible regime. I agree with you. There was the threat, first of all, for Israel, and maybe for some other countries in the region. But it was not the attack on the United States, and Israel is not a NATO member, by the way. So America decided to enter this war on the side of Israel for the Israeli interest. First of all, they neither planned nor coordinated their war efforts at initial stage, at preparation stage with allies. Allies were not involved in anything of that, in this aggression operation. It's definitely the aggression on someone's territory. It's not Iran that is bombing the United States of America, no. And then the Strait of Hormuz has been blocked, then all of those attacks are happening on the neighbors of Iran, Middle Eastern countries. Oh, NATO, we need your support, we need your help. At the same time, they're saying, oh, we helped Ukraine. But Ukraine was freaking attacked by Russia. Attacked. Ukraine is a victim there, it's clear. It's like white and black, yeah? It's yes or no. So Ukraine is a victim of aggression. Russia attacked Ukraine. Here, United States is attacking Iran. And because genius Trump stuck there now, with the Strait of Hormuz being blocked and oil and fuel prices in America as well rising up, oh, please help, we don't want to risk just our navy, no, send your forces, because we fucked up, up in Iran. It means that there is no logic and no competence in the White House. Even this guy Rubio, who told this stuff, even he is out of logic with this question and with other questions. I'm very disappointed, by the way, about Rubio. I thought that he is like the single adult in the team, but it seems like he is not influencing administration that much, and maybe he's not that competent himself, because there is the after each time for the United States. And just look at their hypocrisy now, how they say, okay, we helped Ukraine, but now we don't have the help from NATO. Yeah, I already told you that it is nonsense, that NATO is the defense alliance, or if they use their army somewhere in Iraq, Afghanistan, in Libya, they coordinate their effort. There is the legitimate steps for them to take to act in this case, if they definitely think that some country presents the threat from NATO. And NATO was used only once, 5th article, to protect the United States of America after 9/11. Forces were deployed in Afghanistan, Iraq, and those guys, including Donald Trump, they forgot about it. For them, NATO is just, like this dog. Private Donald Trump's army is NATO. NATO should help because I'm the boss here, I am a king of the world. But no, NATO is not that stupid. And Ukraine is not a NATO member. But Ukraine is the shield of Europe, as I mentioned here. And that's why Europe supports Ukraine. Also, it was the reason for the United States administration, previous one, to send lots of the weapons to Ukraine, because America also wants to have its influence in Europe. Allies, coordination of the efforts. But Donald Trump says, no, Joe Biden did a very big mistake supporting Ukraine, someone's country, far away across the ocean with 300 or 350 billion United States dollars. And that number is a total, complete hoax. United States will waste, I guarantee you, more for the war in Iran than it was spent for the support of Ukraine. They already applied for $200 billion, which is more already than the United States spent for all of those years for Ukraine. So their hypocrisy is they blame the previous White House administration, but at the same time now they say, you see, we support Ukraine, we were so generous, so good. So was it a good move or not, Donald Trump? And yeah, of course, we have this deranged tweet from Donald Trump himself. NATO nations have done absolutely nothing to help with the lunatic nation, I guess. So is it Iranian nation lunatic? Is he fighting against the Iranians or Iranian regime? Or whom? He calls nation a lunatic. This is an assault to all of the Iranians, those who support the Iranian regime, those who support Donald Trump, maybe even some of the Iranians, they do like Donald Trump, maybe, I don't know. But lunatic nation term tells a lot about Donald Trump's real attitude. Now military decimated of Iran, the United States needs nothing from NATO, but never forget this very important point in time. So we don't need nothing, but I write those messages with the caps lock to accuse NATO, NATO help. We don't need anything from you, but we will remember, like, he has a cognitive dissonance, he's panicking, he doesn't know what to do because the operation Epic Fury was not planned or was planned absolutely by incompetent people, and it went completely wrong. He also says that per Iranian government request, and Iranian side already say that there was no any freaking request from their side to Americans, that they're not negotiating anything with the United States, they're just demanding for American forces to get out, and they also want compensations for the United States to close their military bases, which will not happen, of course. Iran, while keeping the Strait of Hormuz under control, will never negotiate. It is understandable. They have the upper hand here, as I continue to tell in my videos. Actually, they have it. So per government request, okay, which didn't happen, but Donald Trump doesn't care, he just lives in his universe. Please let this statement serve to present that I'm pausing the period of energy plant destruction by 10 days to Monday, April 6, 2026 at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Talks are ongoing, and despite earnest statements to the contrary by the fake news media and others, they're going very well. Thank you for your attention to this matter, Trump. Again, delusional information, and again he threatens Iranian civilians about those strikes on energy plants, which is equal to the war crime. That is what Russia doing in Ukraine, hitting civilian infrastructure. Well, Donald Trump already threatened with that before, and he continued to threat with war crimes. American pilots, I do respect you. But if you start to bomb Iranian civilians and their civilian infrastructure, you will be a war criminals. So think twice. If you want to be like Russian pilots, if you want to have civilian bloods on your hands, and of course I'll never shake your hands, bloody hands in this case. So I hope you have this humanity there. And here in the heart as well. Guys, I'm sorry to show you those letters from the madman, but he is a United States president and there is the war ongoing. So I want to find out whether Americans are going to deploy their forces, what it's gonna cost for entire region, for our world economy, and for Ukraine especially. That's why I need to go to this topic and check out what this guy tweets, even though I think he belongs to the mental institution. So, the Iranian negotiations are very different and strange. They're begging us to make a deal, which they should be doing since they have been military obliterated. With zero chance of a comeback. Really? I think they have the chance. And yet they publicly state that they are only looking at our proposal. Wrong! They better get serious soon before it's too late, because once it happens, there is no turning back. And it won't be pretty, President Trump. So, in today's multiple of the statements, he proclaimed victory, he said that they surrendered, he blamed NATO, of course, it happens almost every day. He also tells about progressive and very good talks with the Iranian side, at the same time calling those talks strange in different tweet on Truth Social. So there is zero logic in what he says, there is only logic in deployment of the forces. More and more of the forces are coming to the Middle Eastern military bases, and they're on the way. 82nd Airborne Division Marines are still going, and the United States, well, they might start this ground campaign somewhere on the islands.
I don't want it. We listen to some of the things they say. We hear them very clearly. They say, I don't want it. We'd like to make you the next supreme leader. No, thank you. I don't want it. But I want to express my gratitude to the tremendous...
He said that they wanted, it means Iranians, they wanted him to be their supreme leader. They wanted Donald Trump to be their supreme leader. I don't have comments, especially if you are a doctor and working with those kind of the patients. Write in a comment. Well, some experts are saying that there is the logic behind his statements. He is making waves in the stock market, and people associated with Donald Trump's mates and family, they earn a lot. As it was with the statement about peace negotiations, it blown up the market, oil prices went down, and some particular investor earned right away in several minutes $500 million at least. And today, because of the uncertainty and lots of the news about military escalation are coming, the market lost $1 trillion for a single day. And it continues like that. But someone may play and even earn on that. By the time that there is the war, crisis, elite, those greedy bastards, they don't care. They care about their pocket. And they want to make it bigger and bigger. Billions and billions of dollars they want to earn. As by the way, Donald Trump's family's wealth grown up by several times since he became a president. So maybe yes, there is some logic of getting more money. And Americans may lose their lives for rich boys. He told about the present a couple of days ago, Iran is so generous. So let's listen what that present was. Because before Donald Trump said that it was connected to oil. Okay.
You know, I told you about a present, right? Steve, can I reveal the present?
You can do anything you want.
Thank you. They said to show you the fact that we're real and solid and we're there. We're going to let you have 8 boats of oil, 8 boats, 8 big boats of oil. This was 2 days ago. And they'll sail up tomorrow. That was 3 days ago. And I didn't think much about it. And then I watched the news, and they said, a very good anchor, actually. Happened to be Fox. But I watched it, and he said, something's unusual happening. There are 8 boats that are going right up the middle of the Hormuz Strait. 8 big tankers are going loaded up with oil right through. And I said, well, I guess they were right, and they were real. And I think they were Pakistani flagged. Yes. And I said, well, I guess we're dealing with the right people. And actually, they then apologized for something they said, and they said, we're going to send 2 more boats. And it ended up being 10 boats. All right? I hope I haven't screwed up your negotiations, but I thought it was appropriate to say, because I did taunt you the other day by saying they're going to give us a present.
This is miserable shame for him personally, for the United States administration. So Iran dictates. Iran gives the presents to the United States, and Donald Trump says that it is the present. Yeah, that some of the Pakistani 8 boats are going out of the Strait of Hormuz. So here he says it openly that Iran controls it. We cannot do a thing about it. And Iran, by letting some of the ships go, is giving us presents. Ships are not affiliated with the United States. Those are freaking Pakistani ships. But for Donald Trump, it's important because he thinks if he tells about it, 8 tankers, it means that the oil prices would go down, in the United States. This is very important for him, especially before midterms. And you might think that 8 tankers, it's quite a lot, 8 freaking tankers, lots of the oil. But you know how many ships are trapped? That they cannot go in, cannot go out, because Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz and just occasionally allows ships to pass. Well, 2,000 ships cannot go out and cannot go in. There before the Strait of Hormuz and after. 2,000 ships. And here he says about a generous present with 8 ships. Guys, this is crazy.
Now that here's the thing about the media though.
Yeah, look at him. Just look. He is sleeping. He doesn't really care. He is just this PR media guy, and now he does something that Israel requests from him. Israel was looking for American president, really, who would start the war in Iran, and they successfully found their fool. Well, congratulations. Yeah, here the Wall Street Journal says that Iran hasn't requested a 10-day pause on strikes on its energy plants and is yet to deliver a final response to a 15-point plan to end the war. The 15-point plan was delivered to Iran by the United States of America. Actually, there are 14 of the points, maybe one point is a secret one. But what we know that Iranian regime has its own demands to Americans. To leave region is one of the key demands and compensation is the other one. Iranians also ruled out discussing Iran's missile program and starting point to the talks that doesn't want to commit to the ending enrichment of uranium forever, they added. Okay. So they don't want to talk right now on key options because they successfully blackmailed the world economy by blocking the Strait of Hormuz. Even if Iran unblocks the Strait of Hormuz for every ship tomorrow, there will be an economy decline. It's not just about gas, it's not just about oil, it's also about helium, which is used to produce chips in Taiwan, for example. It's about fertilizers, which are now crucially needed for this period of the year exactly, to grow up grain. So it's not just a fuel crisis, it's about the general crisis in the world economy. And Iran also bombed the gas storages in Qatar, oil refineries, oil storages. This is already a damage. And many years would require to restore those facilities already. And if the United States of America would start its military operation, Iran may strike those facilities even more, obliterating them. And it's not me telling you about it, it's the IMF director in her interview. That is going to be a hard time almost for everyone. And the most silly thing about it is that some rednecks and some delusional freaking stupid people elected Donald Trump in the United States. Well, thank you freaking much for your vote for Donnie. We are now all in a deep shit. Americans as well, and those Americans who didn't vote for Donald Trump, those good Americans, I would say, intelligent. They have some of the brains here. They may analyze the situation before it happens, yeah? Foresee what this orange idiot might do, and he did quite a lot already. It is relative to the question about American politics that we shouldn't get into it. No, we all depend on American politics, as you see. Alright, anyways, let's go back to the business. Pentagon has suggested seizing the Iran-controlled island of Abu Musa, located in the eastern Persian Gulf near the entrance to the Strait of Hormuz, roughly 40 miles from both Iran and the United Arab Emirates, sources tell to Axios. Well, it is quite logical, because why would the United States issue warning for UAE? United States Army wants to have the shorter supply route, and every island is equipped with their runway, as I already mentioned in my previous video relative to the topic of Iran. So Abu Musa is here, the closest one to UAE, and very close to Dubai as well. I remember I overflown it, yeah, on the way to Dubai. We had the flights coming from Iranian airspace to Dubai like that, and you usually spot all of those islands on the way. Then you fly from Kiev, Ukraine, but it was a long time ago, before the full-scale war had started in Ukraine. But those islands I remember very, very well. So of course, if they really want to take the islands, it's better to have those under control than the Hark Island, which is really far away from Kuwait. Yeah, Kuwait and 200 with something kilometers away till reaching Hark. It is not good. Plus this island is very close to Iran and they might have some of the drones to hit the island. With those, Iran will still have capabilities, by the way, but the United States will perform the operation from UAE and Dubai will suffer even more. Before it was bombed quite a lot and it will be bombed, so I don't know about the reputation of the city, whether it's gonna turn to the ghost town And investors, they're taking their money out from what I see. And they're running out from Dubai because this region is totally unstable. By the way, I have my another channel, it's called Captain Dennis, and there I tell about different stuff, and also I filmed a video about Dubai. Is Dubai dead? And that video became quite popular. So if you want to watch more content, you may find it in the video description below, or just type Captain Dennis in the search and you'll find my channel. Well, some of the experts were saying about this big island, the island of Qeshm, let's call it like that. Well, it's kind of the big one. I would say it's relatively flat, but it's very close to Iranian mainland. Plus, Iran is using the island of Larak to control incoming and outgoing ships. I think for a successful mission, United States will have to capture this entire area. Otherwise, Iran will start to bomb all of the tankers located in the Persian Gulf. They will take those as the hostages, as well as nearby infrastructure, oil infrastructure and gas infrastructure of Qatar and UAE. So yes, it's not just about the Hark Island, it's about all of those small islands which could be captured as well. But again, it doesn't guarantee that the Strait of Hormuz is going to be unblocked. Yes, Iran introduced a new route. It goes between Qeshm Island and the island of Larak, so there is the gate, checkpoint. Vessels required to provide full cargo details, ownership structure, destination, crew list, and everything of that. Cleared ships are charged $2 million per passage. I wonder if those Pakistani ships were charged by $2 million, and later on Donald Trump was presenting it as some sort of the victory. Just for you to understand, yeah? Again, coming to that present 8 boats. Before the United States military action, the Strait of Hormuz was open. Now it's been closed. And Donald Trump is happy. Happy about 8 ships, 8 tankers. This is unhinged. This is the trap for the United States, guys. And the landing operation, well, maybe it would be successful, but I'm very pessimistic because I see who is controlling now the United States of America. Also military, by the way, Pete Hegseth. Oh my God. Well, he is not a decisive figure for everything, but still, fish is getting rotted down from the head, and the head is not competent. By the way, Iranian media report about the massive mobilization in the country. Iran has mobilized around 1 million soldiers, 1 million men into its army, plus to the regular armed forces, plus to RGC. So potentially the army could reach 2 million soldiers easily. Plus yesterday CNN published the information that Iran already for 1 week is building some of the defense infrastructure in the Hark Island, and in the other islands they mine the territory with anti-personnel mines, anti-tank mines. They're creating some sort of the trenches. They're deploying their infantry soldiers and the air defense systems. Also, soldiers are equipped with manpads. And we saw how Ukraine back in February 24th, 2022 shut down several of the Russian helicopters with the help of the manpads. So the operation is very risky for the United States Army. And about the air defense, this is FA-18 of American Army. Probably I should do like this. Yep, it was near miss, you see. It was probably a manpad missile, which exploded very close, but the airplane was turning and it was freaking lucky not to be hit by shrapnel. Well, maybe it was hit, but the damages were not that severe, so it continued its normal flight. However, it shows that Iran has manpads, it has some of the air defense, and in case of the landing operation, United States would not use FA-18s. They would use helicopters and low, slow flying airplanes like C-130, which brings lots of the questions of how many losses are going to be there in the American army, especially if it is going to be a long-lasting campaign for the forces to stay in this very limited environment under enemy strikes. Alright, so this Abu Musa Island, yes, it was told about it. Can we get inside? No, Google forbids us, but we see that it's kind of flat and the place to hide is needed, since Iran would use even ballistic missiles on American soldiers, and those are pretty much hard to intercept. Well, maybe they're gonna move Patriot systems here somewhere in UAE, closer to the shore, to shut down ballistics. Maybe it might work, I am not sure. But the good thing for Iran that there is no oil infrastructure on the island, so they might bomb the hell out of it without any sort of the caution. In the Hark Island, it would not work. They would almost certainly damage their own oil facilities if they really want to keep those. If they don't want to destroy the meaning, strategic meaning of the Hark Island in case of the landing operation out there. A very interesting video was published by Hezbollah today. As you know, Israel conducts some of the operation in Lebanon, and Hezbollah started to launch FPV drones. And one of the drones found its target. It was a Merkava tank. You see, drone is flying, approaching the vehicle, exactly as in Ukraine. I would say that the drone operator, well, the movements are kind of rapid, but they target exactly the most vulnerable spot between the turret and the tank base. Once again, yeah, you see, the tank, probably there is someone inside the tank. Was it disabled? Well, we don't have the surveillance drone flying nearby to definitely confirm it, but the strike was damn precise. And Iranian proxies are using drones. It means that Iranian army is also using them. We just don't see the videos because they have nothing to target so far. They launch Shahed drones, ballistic missiles, but if the United States of America would start the landing operation, there will be videos like that. And sadly, not just with vehicles. Guys, what do you think? Do Americans ready for those kind of the videos like in Ukraine? Then Russian soldiers are being chased by Ukrainian drones and we are all cheerful about it, but those could be American soldiers in those islands or on Iranian soil. It's better to say they will be chased by the drones and they will be lying there without limbs, bleeding out, screaming, and all of that will be filmed and shared online for American voters. Donald Trump has started this war to help Israel to dismantle Iranian regime. But actually with those reckless actions, he could dismantle his own regime back in the United States. Just right now, Pentagon is considering deploying up to 10,000 additional ground troops to the Middle East to expand military options for President Trump as he waits peace talks with Tehran. DoD officials tell the Wall Street Journal. Maybe he will also announce the draft into the United States Army to occupy Iran entirely, because Iranian army is close to 2 million now. So you need quite a lot of the forces, like maybe 6 million, something like that. The ratio should be 3-to-1 if you are on attack operation. But in Iran, there is also a difficult terrain, you know, mountains and everything. So maybe it could be 7-8 million, who knows. Yeah, the situation is definitely crazy. Additional 10,000 ground troops to what is already coming to the Middle East. So potentially 20,000 troops at least ready to go, yeah? And one more serious thing here, that Iran is shifting Hormuz to toll payments into yuan via Chinese maritime firms, with legislation underway to lock it in. Already receiving over 80% of oil revenue in yuan through CIPS, Tehran is now expanding that system to shipping fees, bypassing SWIFT and anchoring the yuan as the key global checkpoint. It means that the United States cannot sanction it, yes, and it also means the great damage to the dollar system, petrodollar. Iran is working together with China, together with Russia. Iran is definitely the enemy for the Western world. It is also direct enemy for Ukraine because it supplied some of the drones and specialists to Russia, and now it even threatens Ukraine with direct strikes because Ukrainian drones help to intercept Iranian Shahed drones. But anyways, this special military operation that Donald Trump had started, it is freaking incompetent. And that is what I'm yapping about most of all. The Donald Trump's administration fails everywhere, with Iranian negotiations, with Ukrainian-Russian negotiations, which are profitable only for Russia. And by the way, Zelensky today stated once again that Donald Trump or Americans, they want Ukraine to give up territories, and only after that they will think about some of the security guarantees. And Zelensky says that they don't like him because he is against it. So the masks are off, and by the way, Donald Trump is also a threat for democracy. Not America itself, but Donald Trump, yes, and his circle, his White House. He is threatening NATO, he is taking Russian side, and he up in Iran, which might lead to very terrible circumstances. Trump called to the Fox News.
You kind of suggested that we'd knocked out Ayatollah Jr. Have we? And did the CIA tell you that Ayatollah Jr. is gay?
Well, they did say that, but I don't know if it was only them. I think a lot of people are saying that, which puts them off to a bad start in that particular country. You know, I sort of have to smile to myself when I say I see people trying to defend the Palestinian regime for women for Palestine, but they kill women if you don't.
Where did they have this kind of the weird information whether new Ayatollah is gay or what? Just maybe this is coming from Donald Trump. Yeah, guys, I know that many of you are watching me just because of the updates coming from Ukraine, but I want to tell about what I want to tell, especially Middle East is very important, Middle East and Iran. And please support my job on Patreon, the link for it is in the video description right below. As an alternate variant, you may support me on membership of the YouTube channel by pressing button join. You'll join the membership. Thank you so much for making this content possible. Only because of your support, I'm here filming almost every day. Also guys, please press like to this video and subscribe to the channel to boost this content in algorithms. Thank you so much for it. My friends, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are and have a great time.